Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to today's video. This is Shanmugaraj. We are continuing our journey on product agility. Till yesterday, we talked about how do we take the product vision to product roadmap, right? From strategic themes to epics, from roadmap to sprint planning, so release planning, where you can get into features, and sprint planning, where you get into the stories, and then daily stand-up we'll talk about task, right? That's what we talked about. So till yesterday we even talked about good ways of writing a stories, right? So today we're going to talk about how do we split the stories. Why do you want to split the story? Look at this picture. There are two ways you can split the stories actually. Either you can do vertical slicing and horizontal slicing. Horizontal slicing means, look at the picture, it does that, wherever there's a scope of work, there's a requirement. You try to build a database layer, and then you try to build a business logic layer. On top of that, there is a user interface layer. So you try to build each one separately and then integrate it and deliver it. Right? We talked about it's a sequential approach, right? So why horizontal slicing is not working out for us, in agile methods, value is not delivered. Right? When you deliver a database, nobody can use it. When you deliver database plus business logic, nobody can use it. Right? So only when you deliver all the three layers as a product, the user can use it. Right? Look at the delay to reach customers. So it might take 3 months to deliver it. There is a waiting, late feedback, and rework always. Right? So look at the vertical slicing where you try to slice vertically, like pay order with PayPal, pay order manually, pay order with a credit card. So you vertically slice on the functionality side. You try to build all the layers for the particular functionality, which can be completed within an iteration and deliver that. That's it. That's about a vertical slicing, right? So spreading the user story is all about vertically slicing about it. If you are not vertically slicing it, you will not deliver value or minimum viable product. You cannot deliver a working software, right? Why we are spreading the story, right? We understood that we have to slice vertically, but why at all I should do that? The reason is simple reason is the smaller stories allow faster and more reliable implementation. Since small items flow through any system faster with less variability and reduced risk. Therefore, spreading bigger stories into smaller ones is a mandatory skill for every agile team. It is both an art and science of incremental development. Right? So you need to understand that why we are going, smaller stories. See this, you can understand faster, you can implement it faster, you can implement reliably as well. That's very important. Right? Since small items flow through any system faster, that's an important psychology in it. Small things just flow very faster with less variability and reduced risk. So that is one of the reason we want to split the stories as much as possible. And there are 10 ways spreading stories described by Leffingwell in his book Agile Software Requirements. We're going to look at that all those 10 ways, right? So these are the 10 ways is been described here. We'll go one by one. The first one is spreading the story used on workflow steps. Look at that example. As a utility, I want to update and publish pricing programs to my customer, right? So we can, this particular story has number of workflows within by itself, right? So how I'm splitting based on the workflow. As a utility, I can publish pricing programs to customer in home display. As a utility, I can send a message to the customer's web portal. I can publish the pricing table to the customer's smart thermostat. So there are 2 or 3 steps while updating and publishing a pricing programs, right? You can do an in-home display, then a message to customer web portal, and then I publish on a smart thermostat. This is the workflow steps, right? The second way of spreading a story is based on business rule variations. As a utility, I can sort customers by different demographics. So I want to start customer data, right? Contacts information based on the different geographics, right? So how we can, you can start it by zip code. You can, these are the demographic details you gather from the customer, right? You can start by home demographics. You can sort by energy consumption, right? So you can sort by the salary. A number of ways you can do the sorting. So these are the business rules variation. You can easily split the stories, right? See, if I do that, why I'm splitting a story here. If we give us this particular story, the person may not be able to complete within an iteration. So what I'm doing, I'm splitting it to 2 or 3, and I'm giving 1 or 2. That person can do it 1 or 2. So you can take the another one in the next sprint. That's the reason for splitting the stories. The third ways of splitting is the major effort based on the major and minor efforts. As a user, I want to be able to select, change my pricing program with my utility through my web portal, right? So I want to select and change my pricing program, right? For example, I'm going for uh, internet services, right? So I can select and change my pricing program. That's what I want to do, right? So instead of, it maybe looks like a major effort for you, try to split down into smaller works for you, right? I can show that, as an user, I want to use the time of use pricing. I want to prepay for my energy. I want to enroll in critical peak pricing. Since we're trying to split down, into number of users of utilities, and you can create that efforts into smaller efforts, right? Simple complex. As a user, I basically want a fixed price, but I also want to be notified of critical peak pricing events, right? This looks a pretty complex story, right? As a user, I want a fixed price, but I also want to be notified of critical peak pricing events, right? You are using internet service, but you want a fixed price of a service, but you want to be notified of a critical peak pricing events, right? So when there is a threshold comes, you need to notify it. So how I'm making it simple. As a user, respond to the time and the duration of the critical peak pricing event. And as a user, I want to respond to emergency events. So that's how I can make it simple actually. So this looks like, a larger story. Then you can make it, smaller, make it simple in nature, right? So based on the complexity, you can split the stories. Based on the variations in the data, as a utility, I can send messages to customers based on the data variation or localization, right? Localization is one of the good examples of variations data. As a utility, I can send messages to customers in English, in Spanish, in Arabic, so something like that. So it's a simple localization example. You can split the stories according to variations in the data. Data entry methods. As a user, I can view my energy consumption in various graphs, right? So I can use, that's it looks like a very generic story. But how can I split in the based on the data entries, right? As a user, I can view my energy consumption using bar charts that compare weekly consumption. I can view my energy consumption in a comparison chart so that I can compare my usage to those who have same or similar household demographics. It is about the way of display or way of entering the data, right? You can split down the stories. See, number of ways you can give your dashboards, right? So you can split down your dashboards with number of charts. Each chart can be of a one simple user stories. Differ system qualities. That's another ways of splitting the stories. As a user, I want to see real-time consumption for my meter, right? How I can split in this system data, right? I mean, differ system qualities, right? I want to differ system. Sometimes the initial information it isn't that hard, and major part of the effort is making it fast. It's more scalable actually, right? So you try to differ the system qualities, right? As a user, I want to see real-time consumption for my meter is the bigger story. How I'm splitting it. As a user, I want to interpolate the data from the last known reading. So when you use this story, you'll automatically understand the system qualities. Then as a user, I want to display the real-time data from the meter is much more simpler to use it actually, right? So that is about differing system qualities. Seventh is based on operations. As a user, I can manage my account. Right? There is an operation called CRED, create, read, update, and delete. Right? So as a user, I can sign off. That's a create. As a user, I can edit. As a user, I can cancel my account. As a user, I can add more devices to my account. So this is how I can delete my account or whatever it is. So using this CRED operations, you can divide your stories. It's a simple application. Use case scenarios. Based on use case scenarios, you can spread our stories. I want to enroll in the energy savings program through a retail distributor. Right? I want to enroll in the energy savings program through a retail distributor. The biggest stories. It has multiple use cases like notify utility that consumer has equipment, utility provisions equipment and data notifies consumer, handle data validation errors. So these are the number of use cases you can bring it out from it, right? So this how based on the use case scenario you can spread over stories. The last is final one is a breakout a spike. In some cases a story may be too large or overly complex, right? Or perhaps the implementation is poorly understood. In that case, build a technical or a functional spike to figure it out. Let's take an example. As a consumer, I want to see my daily energy use in a histogram so that I can quickly understand my past, current, and likely near term future energy consumption. So this is my story. I'm splitting into technical and functional spike. What is a technical spike? Research how long it takes to update a customer display to current usage, data mining, communication requirements, bandwidth, and whether to push or pull the data. So these are the technical spike. Functional spike may be prototype a histogram in the web portal and get some user feedback on the presentation size, style, and charting attributes. Right? That's how we can split technical and functional spikes. So with that, we have seen all the 10 ways of splitting user stories. Very, very simple ways you can split it. Right? So hope you got a fair idea about why we are spreading the story and what are the 10 ways of spreading the story. All are simple means and ways of doing it. Okay, so with that we are concluding today's video, right? So thanks for listening. I would like to understand your feedback in terms of my content and delivery. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye bye.